Bold and the Beautiful twist. Katie's shocking medical crisis. Remy's redemption bombshell? Bold and the Beautiful suggests Remy Price, Christian Weissman, is looking for redemption and acceptance. And Katie Logan, Heather Tom, might be the person who can help him out if the medical crisis that B&B is hinting at manifests soon. This could be a huge twist. We're going to talk about how Remy might be able to get redemption by saving Katie's life. Remy's dark history on Bold and the Beautiful, stalking and obsession. Way before Deke Sharp Harrison Cohn started dating Remy, we first met the bad guy when he was introduced on Bold and the Beautiful as Electra Forrester's Linnea Grace, old friend from back home. We learned right away that Remy was creepily obsessed with Electra, and she had no idea. Back in their hometown, we found out Remy was there for Electra when somebody posted deep fake nudes of her all over the internet. Everybody at school saw them. She was humiliated. Turns out Remy did it. He posted the deep fakes so he could be the hero to Electra. She just had to leave home. She ran off and landed in LA with a job offer from her aunt Ivy Forrester, Ashley Brewer, to join her at Forrester Creations. And of course, her stalker Remy followed. He got a job and an apartment from Deacon Sharp, Sean Cannon, at Il Giardino. And then we saw Remy had tons of photos of Electra plastered all over the wall in his little apartment, serial killer style. She thought Remy was her real friend. But when she wound up at his place and saw the creepy obsession collage, obviously Electra was horrified. Remy terrorizes Electra on Bold and the Beautiful. Then Remy just went psycho, stalking and chasing Electra. She ran out of the apartment, and Remy chased her through this whole warehouse-type obstacle course thing, yelling for her, scaring Electra. They went through a parking lot, and then Remy ended up chasing Electra all the way onto the roof of a building. That's when Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, finally caught up with them and confronted the guy. Electra and Remy were struggling at the edge of the roof. Electra was scared she was going to go over the handrail, and she broke free from Remy. Then Will and Remy struggled, and Will punched him. He ran off, but the cops grabbed Remy and he was arrested. If you don't remember, there you go. Just caught you up. A path to redemption. Remy's B&B return and shocking revelation. Electra wound up safe. Remy went to jail, and he was off the canvas for a while. But obviously the charges weren't that serious because he returned. Sheila Carter, Kimberlyn Brown, had helped him out and got him a gig doing some repair work over at Bill Spencer's, Don Diamant. And that's how he met with Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada. Then he was off the canvas again for a little while. Remy was back in another run-in with Luna at the gun range when she was practicing to shoot Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline McInnes would, so that she could clear the path to be with her dad, Finn Finnegan, Tanner Novlin. We did notice at that time that Remy seemed to be less villainous, and he tried to discourage Luna from doing violence. So, it seemed already that Remy was less evil, that his muddy thoughts were clearing up, and obviously, this was part of a longer-ranging plan to redeem him. Remy returns to B&B. Then we saw him with Luna again, this time when she burst into Remy and Deke's apartment and peed on a pregnancy test in their bathroom. And that's when we found out Remy was dating Deke. Fans and Luna were all surprised to find out that out of nowhere, Remy is gay and living with his very handsome boyfriend, Deke. Remy tried to explain that he terrorized Electra because he was still in the closet struggling to come out and be his true self. Remy told Luna the closet is a scary place and his fear of coming out caused him to obsess over Electra. Forgiveness and a grand gesture. What will it take to redeem Remy on Bold and... Clearly, it looks like Remy is on a path to redemption. But it's going to take a lot because Electra was absolutely horrified when she recently found out Remy is Deke's boyfriend that he keeps talking about in glowing terms. Plus, Ivy, Katie, and Will all freaked out when Deke brought Remy to work the other day. And of course, Deke was horrified to find out what Remy had done to Electra, whom Deacon Sharp considers a sweet girl and a work friend. Remy begged Electra to forgive him. But of course she said no, and Will said no. The bottom line is it's going to take something big as some kind of grand gesture for Remy to be truly redeemed. And it's hard to imagine what that could be, right? A recycled B&B storyline. Could Remy's redemption mirror Flo Fulton's? Brad Bell loves to recycle plots from the past. So he may be doing something similar with Remy that he did with felony Flo Fulton, Katrina Bowden, and it could tie back to Katie and her ongoing health issues. Lately, we've had mentions from Donna Logan, Jennifer Grice, and Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, about Katie's past heart problems, and they worried that all the Luna drama would take a toll on Katie's health. So, I suspect Donna and Brooke were foreshadowing some health concerns for Katie. If so, it could be Remy who saves Katie's life by donating an organ. If you recall back in 2019, Felony Flo was the town pariah among the Forresters, Spencers, and Logans. That's because she helped Reese Buckingham, Wayne Brady, Steele Hope Logan, Annika Noel, and Liam Spencer's Scott Clifton, baby girl, Beth Logan, now Jordan Lynn Ariza. Flo is the one who actually sold baby Beth to Steffi in a private adoption that Taylor Hayes, now Rebecca Budig, brokered with no idea it was Hope's baby. So Flo kept up the lie that Beth was dead. And once it all came out, it also came out as part of Flo's redemption arc that she was the daughter of Storm Logan, William DeVry. Brad repeats history on Bold and the Beautiful. So, Brad Bell first tied Flo to a legacy character, and then he used a Katie medical crisis to redeem her. Now we've got Brad Bell tying Remy to a legacy character, a legacy offspring, Deke Sharp. And we may get a new Katie medical crisis that redeems Remy. If you recall, Katie was in kidney failure, and Flo coughed up one of her kidneys for Katie. She was a match because her dad was her sibling, and that instantly redeemed her. Felony Flo even wound up with a job at Forrester Creations, and Hope forgave her for stealing her baby. If Flo can be redeemed for something worse, I think Remy can be too. On the scale of sin, I think that stealing and selling a baby is worse than posting deep fake nudes. But both are horrible and creepy, and in Remy's case, really perverted and cruel. Katie's looming health crisis and a potential living donor. Katie's had a heart transplant and she's had a kidney transplant. And I did some research about long-term issues after organ transplants. One thing I see is that she may have liver damage. After an organ transplant, you have to take anti-rejection medication. And now, with 2 organs transplanted, Katie may be taking higher doses, and that can really damage your liver. But Remy could donate part of his liver as a living donor. Like with bone marrow, it's a transplant that can be done from a donor who is alive and not dead. Cast golden streaks across the Forrester Creations rooftop deck, where Katie Logan stood alone, hands gripping the metal railing. The breeze was gentle, carrying the scent of jasmine and the faint hum of LA traffic, but Katie felt none of it. Her heart thudded too loud, a drum of panic trapped inside her chest. Sweat beaded across her brow, though the air wasn't warm. Something was wrong, very wrong. She tried to breathe, but the air around her tightened like a shrinking cage. Not again. Please not again. Her vision blurred in a frightening haze. She'd known this feeling once before, years ago, when she nearly lost her life to heart failure. That terrifying chapter was supposed to be over, but the human heart, even a transplanted one, never promised forever. Katie's knees buckled. Just as she collapsed, a pair of strong arms caught her mid-fall. "Whoa, Katie! Katie, talk to me!" a frantic voice pleaded. It took a moment before she recognized the man holding her upright. Remy Westbrook, the controversial new arrival who had caused scandal, anger, and suspicion since his connection to Lee Finnegan emerged. A man with a checkered past and a reputation Katie had vowed to be cautious of. But right now, he was the only lifeline between her and the lethal pull of gravity. "Help!" Katie's whisper was barely air. "You're okay," Remy reassured, though fear sharpened his tone. "I've got you." He lifted her swiftly and rushed through the rooftop door, shouting for assistance. For Katie, the world faded into sirens and shadows, and then nothing. Hours later at the hospital, The bright lights stabbed at Katie's eyes as she groggily regained consciousness. Her first instinct was to sit up, but wires tugged at her skin and a sharp ache cut through her chest. A familiar face hovered over her. Bill Spencer. "Katie!" His voice was uncharacteristically fragile. "Thank God." Bill squeezed her hand, his eyes glistening with emotions he rarely showed. He had arrived long before she woke, refusing to leave her bedside. What happened?" she croaked. Doctors and nurses had been fluttering around just minutes earlier. Now everything seemed eerily still. "You collapsed," Bill explained. "Remy was with you. He saved your life." Remy. The name alone stirred confusion. Bill continued before she could speak. "You had a cardiac episode. They're still testing. They think your transplant may be failing." Katie's chest constricted, not from the devices or pain, but from fear. That nightmare had stalked her for years, always waiting to resurface. "No," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I thought I was past this." Bill leaned forward, brushing a stray tear from her cheek. "You're strong. You'll get through this again, and I'll be here. I won't mess this up." Katie's eyes searched his, recognizing the sincerity. Bill always promised the world, always meant in the moment. But could love truly conquer history? Before she could answer, the door opened. Remy stepped in cautiously, as if unsure he belonged in the same room as one of the most powerful couples in L.A. "I can come back later," he offered, quiet and tense. "No," Katie responded, surprising both men. "Please stay." Bill's jaw clenched, jealousy flaring hot, but Katie gave him a gentle look, one that asked for trust. Remy lingered near the foot of the bed, uncomfortable but resolute. "I didn't know where else to be. You scared me." Katie offered a small smile of gratitude. "I'm glad you were there." A stunning revelation. Later that evening, Dr. Martin entered with Katie's charts clutched tightly to his chest. His expression was grave. "Katie," he began, "the tests show your heart is under rejection stress. Not complete rejection yet, but aggressive early signs." Katie swallowed a sob. Bill's grip on her hand tightened protectively. "What's the plan?" Bill demanded. "Name it. We'll do it." "There's a new medication protocol we can try," Dr. Martin explained. "But if it fails, you'll need to be placed back on the transplant list." Katie's heart dropped. Another surgery? Another fight for a second chance at life? She trembled, but Remy stepped closer, voice unwavering. What can she do now to help herself? Anything. Dr. Martin glanced at Remy, recognizing newfound determination in the man's eyes. "There is one more thing," the doctor added slowly. "A donor match search. Just in case. But your blood type is rare, Katie. The list could take time." Time she didn't have. Katie's vulnerability hung thick in the air. Bill pressed a kiss to her forehead. "We will get through this," he vowed. "Whatever it takes." Remy's guilt and secret phone call. Outside the room, Remy leaned against the wall, swallowing hard. The ghost of his past pressed against his ribs. He pulled out his phone, fingers trembling slightly. "It's me," he said when someone answered. "Something's happening, and I can't ignore it anymore." A voice on the other line sounded tense. "Remy, don't do anything stupid." "No," Remy whispered. "I'm finally going to do something right." He ended the call and stared through the window at Katie, laughing weakly at something Bill said, even as fear dulled her eyes. Remy closed his own eyes, fighting back emotion. "You deserve better than what's coming," he murmured. The next morning, unexpected confessions. Katie awoke to find Remy sitting in the visitor chair, head bowed in a restless sleep. Bill must have stepped out temporarily. She watched him for a moment, struck by the contrast. This man who had shielded her without hesitation stood opposite of his reputation. "Remy," she called softly. He jerked awake, embarrassed. "Sorry, I just wanted to check on you before I left." You stayed, she noted gently. Not many would. He tried to shrug off the significance, but the emotion in his eyes betrayed him. Katie, you're one of the few people who treated me like a person when all of LA wanted me gone. I owed you. Katie tilted her head, reading deeper. This isn't about owing me, is it? It feels personal. Remy flinched, but nodded slowly. There's something you don't know about me. Something I need to tell you before the truth comes out. Katie's pulse spiked, not from her heart condition, but from his tremor-filled voice. Remy, she urged gently, you can tell me anything. He inhaled sharply. The donor whose heart ended up saving your life years ago. Remy paused, voice cracking. She was my sister. Katie froze. Remy swallowed hard, pain flooding his expression. I never knew where her heart went. Not until I heard your case today. She was my little sister, and she saved you. Silence washed over the room, heavy with awe and shock. Katie's voice broke. I don't even know what to say. You don't owe me words, Remy replied. You living all these years, that was enough. But why keep it secret? She whispered. Remy's jaw tightened. Because I don't want anything from you. His gaze softened. I just want to help you live. Again. Bill returns and tension ignites. Bill appeared in the doorway just in time to hear those final words. His eyes narrowed dangerously. What's going on here? He demanded. Remy stepped back, but didn't look ashamed. I was just telling Katie the truth. She deserved to know. Bill moved protectively in front of Katie. You stay away from her. I don't care what truth you think you're entitled to. Katie shook her head. Bill, stop. He just told me something important. Bill scoffed. Yeah? Let me guess, he's the hero now. The morning sun filtered through the glass walls of Forrester Creations, casting a warm glow over fabrics, sketches, and mannequins dressed in brilliance. But despite the glamour inside the iconic building, tension lingered like a storm cloud waiting to break open. Katie Logan stepped out of the elevator, coffee in hand, shoulders stiff with determination. Last week's disaster with the HFTF redesign and her humiliating confrontation with Eric, Ridge, and Carter had shaken her deeply, both personally and professionally. She was known for strength, diplomacy, and grace. But recently, she felt fragile, misunderstood, disposable. She wouldn't show it, not today. As she made her way to her office, she passed Remy Sharp. Remy, the man whose name had ignited headlines, controversy, and regret. He had joined the company months earlier, and while his brilliance was undeniable, his methods had crossed lines. Designs stolen, alliances manipulated, secrets weaponized. His missteps nearly cost Forrester millions. But in recent weeks, something about him had shifted. He no longer carried that smug swagger. Instead, there was remorse etched into him. Quiet, uncomfortable, human. Katie, he said softly, catching her attention. She paused, a cool distance guarding her expression. Remy. I owe you a conversation, he said, eyes lowered. A real one. No, Katie replied sharply. You owe the entire company the truth. And consequences. She walked away, heels echoing down the hallway, leaving him standing hollow and speechless. Chapter 2. A warning sign. Hours passed. Meetings, strategy revisions, tense smiles. Katie made it through them all. But her pulse was racing faster than usual, and a strange tightening sensation gripped her chest. Probably stress, she told herself. Still, she found herself staring at her trembling hands. You okay? Carter asked, stepping inside her office. His concern was immediate, genuine. Katie inhaled sharply, steadying herself. Just a long morning. Nothing I can't handle. You don't look okay, Carter murmured. You look like someone who needs a break, she finished with a tired smile. Yes, exactly. But Katie waved him off. Rest meant weakness. And weakness wasn't an option. Not after the board questioned her judgment. Thanks, Carter. Really, I just need to finish this report. He hesitated, then left, but not without one last careful look. Minutes later, the room tilted. Words blurred on the screen. Her heartbeat, fast, irregular. A cold sweat broke across her forehead. Then darkness. Chapter 3. Emergency. Remy was the first to hear the thud. He had been walking past her office again, still debating whether he should try speaking to her once more, when the sound jolted him. Panic surged through him, and without hesitation he shoved open the door. "Katie!" She was collapsed on the floor, pale, barely conscious, fighting for breath. Remy dropped to his knees. "Oh my God, Katie! Stay with me." His voice trembled as he reached for her wrist. Her pulse was erratic, terrifyingly weak. He fumbled for his phone and called 911. "This is Forrester Creations. We need an ambulance now." Female, mid-40s, collapsed, struggling to breathe. History of heart issues. His voice broke at the last word. He knew her medical history. Everyone did. Katie's heart condition was no secret, but seeing her helpless, that was something else entirely. "Katie, look at me," he whispered urgently. "You're not dying. Not today." Her eyelids fluttered. She tried to speak, but couldn't. He gently lifted her head, careful not to strain her. "Help is coming. I promise." Chapter 4. The hospital. Sirens wailed. Panic spread through Forrester as paramedics rushed Katie away. Carter, Brooke, Bill, and Ridge arrived at the ER within minutes. Emotions collided. Fear, guilt, anger. "What happened?" Bill demanded. Remy stood apart from them, shoulders tense. She collapsed in her office. She couldn't breathe. "I called." "You." Bill snapped, stepping closer. "You're the reason half the staff can't breathe from stress." "Bill!" Brooke warned sharply. Remy swallowed, eyes fixed on the floor. "I was just the first person there." "Why were you even near her office?" Carter asked, suspicion shadowing his tone. Remy hesitated. "I wanted to apologize." Bill scoffed. Fantastic timing. Before the confrontation could escalate, Dr. York walked out. The room held its breath. "She's stable," the doctor said. Relief flooded faces. But this episode wasn't random. We found signs of acute stress response alongside a cardiac rhythm distortion. "Meaning?" Brooke whispered. She had the beginnings of a cardiac event, another one. Brooke covered her mouth. Carter's fists clenched. Bill's face went pale. "She's strong," the doctor continued, "but she needs rest. And she needs less stress. A lot less." Remy stiffened, because deep down he feared that stress was partly him. Chapter 5. A confession no one expected. Later that evening, Katie rested in her room. Weak, exhausted, but conscious. Machines beeped softly beside her. When the door opened, she expected Brooke or Carter. Instead, Remy. She frowned. "You shouldn't be here." "I know," he whispered, closing the door behind him. "But there's something you need to hear." Katie attempted to sit up, but pain flickered across her chest. "Please don't strain yourself," he said quickly, pulling a chair close. She studied him, wariness meeting unexpected sincerity. "You almost died today," he said slowly. "And I realized something. I can't leave the damage I've done hanging in the air." Katie raised a brow. This sounds like another attempt to manipulate sympathy. Remy shook his head. "No, it's the opposite. I'm here because the lies have gone on long enough." Her expression shifted. He continued. "When I came to Forrester, it wasn't just to work. Someone hired me. Someone outside this company who wanted sabotage. Sabotage of the HFTF line. Sabotage of internal relationships. Sabotage of you." Katie stiffened. "Who?" Remy exhaled shakily. "Quinn Fuller." Katie's blood ran cold. "She blamed you," he went on, "for how everything ended with Carter. With Eric. With her name being tarnished. She wanted the entire company destabilized. And she wanted you humiliated most of all." Katie felt the gravity of the revelation sink into her bones. "You went along with that," she whispered, hurt shadowing her voice. "At first," Remy admitted, "but then I saw the people, the passion, the family, and I realized I was the villain in a place where love, real love, is the backbone." Katie blinked hard, overwhelmed. "So what changed?" she asked quietly. "You," he answered, simple, raw, unguarded. Her breath caught. "You treated me with respect, even when I didn't deserve it. You challenged me. You believed in redemption. And today, when I saw you collapse, I realized I could either keep pretending or finally tell the truth." Silence stretched, thick but not hostile. Then Katie spoke. "You saved my life today." Remy swallowed hard. "I don't know what happens next. But if the company wants to fire me, press charges, whatever, I'll cooperate. I just needed you to know the truth before it went public." Katie studied him, really studied him. And for the first time, she didn't see a schemer. She saw a broken man, finally ready to rise from his past. Chapter 6. The Turning Point. The next morning, Bill, Brooke, Ridge, and Carter gathered for an emergency meeting. Katie insisted on being there, against doctor's orders. She faced them, pale but resolute.